7 o'clock tip, 6 o'clock, Warriors Live.
I got to check the uniform combo.
When will we know that?
I'm going to check now. We may have it.
Okay. Warrior fans.
You got to Google it.
You had a shot at 8.
Have an app.
You had a shot at 8 on Friday.
Oh, boy.
You're heading in as a 10 seed, but you get the Kings, which I got to believe most feel is their most favorable first play-in game adversary. What makes you confident against the Kings, and what worries you about the Kings? And then you can extrapolate it to moving forward if you think they're going to win tomorrow. Jonathan's in Foster City. What's up, Jonathan? How you doing, man?
What's up, fellas? How are you guys doing?
Hey.
Good. Well, I was there on Friday. That was the worst second quarter I've ever seen them play. But former Warriors employee, season ticket holder since 2007.
All right.
In the last 9 years, we've got 4 titles. But if we miss the playoffs this year, in the last 5 years, we will have missed the playoffs 3 of those 5 years. That's a dramatic change. I know there's a COVID year, there's a Curry injury year. I know we moved out of our home court advantage from Oracle to Chase, but man, what do you think? Missing 3 out of the last 5, that is a stat that has to just pain Lacob in the front office and Steph.
I mean,
there's one chip in that 5, though. I hear you.
But and I'm with Jonathan. That's the way I kind of look at the big picture. It's just the way I look at the big picture, and the reason I do it that way is because I do think that's kind of the way Joe Lacob looks at the big picture. Is yes, they did. Of course, they won a title in 2022.
That was the anomaly.
But yes,
wow.
If you, I always go to the basketball reference thing. I really do. It's just, I mean, if you go from NBA champions to Western Conference semis to miss the playoffs, like that's a big drop in 2 years. So how do you view it all? And listen, I don't think there's one way to view it all. How about this? And I didn't necessarily want to really go back into this, but our guy Harry.
Yeah.
All right, you ready? Send me a text today. Said the 10th seed.
Wow, that's the title. Wow.
Why? Question mark. Because Draymond Green got kicked out for 20-plus games. You don't think they would have won 3 or 4 more games with Draymond? That gets them to 6 or maybe higher. They're going to deal with this again and again. It's not worth it to the team. It's not worth it to the players. It's not fair. And here's what I don't necessarily want to get into it, but I was just surprised that was his season wrap-up text, kind of.
And we talked about it here. You're really not a 10th seed if you allow us to present that to the jury.
And I would say you're really not a 6th seed if you think Draymond Green is going to be somebody who doesn't go through this year after year after year.
So if you think this is a one-off.
So
but you
just
signed up for that deal, Stoney.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Now, what do you do around it, though? Because that's the right on the table brought to you by Atco. Well, there are going to be some questions and things you can do and wiggle jiggle, but what is Joe Lacob willing to do? And like you said earlier, where does he really think this team is at? Like, does that stat mean anything to him? And I got to believe if I'm a billionaire, Stoney, that does. But then on the flip side, not being negative, if you think this is not going to happen again, well, it didn't happen last year. He punched a teammate and threw off the season. So I would tell Harry he didn't miss those amount of games. What did he play? 70-some games last year. So he was available. Draymond.
No, but
he punched Poole. Right. But, excuse me, there was no suspension. And you look at the game log, games played, he was there.
Right, but I think you could. So what are you saying? He didn't negatively impact last year?
I'm not saying that. I was just
right. So what Harry's saying is
no suspensions.
If you look at the last 2 years,
he's hijacked
that Draymond Green has cost the Warriors the last 2 years in some way or the other. Yeah. And all I'm saying is I was surprised that was the first thing he said because to me, outside Draymond Green, and the suspension, I think mostly it was a very good year for the Warriors.
Yeah. We talked about it.
I do. Yeah. So I was just...
You hit on your 2 rookie draft
So you're telling me Draymond Green has taken away the positives of this season? Like, how can you not talk about the rookies having a great year? Great first year in the NBA.
Well, how can you not talk about where would you be without him?
How would you how can you not talk about Kuminga taking a jump as a third-year player? I mean, there was a lot of good stuff that happened this year. That's why when I heard, even Monte Poole saying they lose to the Kings or the Lakers, I think he said this year's a disaster.
Well, damn.
I mean, I guess.
And if Joe Lacob's thinking that, then all bets are on.
What do you think? What do you think about what Monte Poole said to us just a half hour ago?
To me, if they lose, this season has been a disaster. Everything from the Chris Paul acquisition was all about the postseason. They didn't bring in Chris Paul because they wanted to win 55 games. They brought in Chris Paul so that when we get to the postseason, we have a guy on our bench who can lead our bench crew that's reliable, low turnover guy, high assist guy, an orchestrator, an organizer. And so if they're one and done, that's a colossal failure. To me, they got to get through at least 2 games. And I know the second game's going to be a lot tougher. But if they don't, to me, it says, okay, guys, it's time to start turning the page.
Interesting.
He said colossal.
So I think, to me, it sounds like what the differentiation is. And this is where I think there's a lot of solid logic. If you don't get to the playoffs, that means your 4 young players don't get to experience a 7-game series. When 2 of them were rookies and they were going to play a significant role, and Kuminga, in theory, was going to play more than he's ever played in the postseason the last 2 years. There is something about that is a delineation point. You gotta find a way to get your young players into the playoffs, into a 7-game series. So I kind of subscribe to that theory about you don't get into the playoffs, then it's not a good year. You get into the playoffs, and you can justify a lot of things.
And we'd be
what do you think?
No, I agree. And we'd be fooling ourselves, too. Tell me if Monty didn't have a little sprinkle of this. Again, health is wealth. We know this. So SAC doesn't have that on their side. But, Stoney, this ain't last year in regard to how scared I was of the Kings as a whole. They are missing 2 big parts of their team. This is the closest thing to a layup that there is. So you can lose to me, New Orleans or L.A., and I'd be despondent and hurt, but you can't lose tomorrow.
Oh, man, I don't think there's... No, I don't think there's...
Oh, my God. Spadoni agreed. I mean, we talked about it.
I don't think there's much of a difference.
The fact that they're missing their heart and... like,
it's just... But it's, to me, it's 1 game. You can't expect to win 10 out of 10 1-game series.
Then we're not very good then if we can't. With Steph, Clay, and Dre going into that building to end their year.
But this is the issue. This is the issue. You might get knocked off by the Kings tomorrow. You still went 27-12. Like you've put yourself in a position where 1 bad game will get you beat. It'll get you eliminated. So like that's and I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer to it. But to me, if you can't get to the playoffs, I just don't think a week from now there's going to be a big difference between, oh, God, can you believe we lost to the Kings, or can you believe we lost to the Lakers or the Pelicans? I just think the disappointment and the assessment of the season will still be kind of the same, that it wasn't very good.
Okay,
and now where do we go from here as a non-playoff team?
I got to be
888-957-9570.
Let me, because you brought up the pass, I'm going to do it. And this may not be, you may not like it, but tell me what you think. So are you telling me Steiny had the San Francisco 49ers, and I know the Warriors aren't the Niners, but had the San Francisco 49ers season ended at home in the rain that Saturday night against Green Bay, then Niner fans wouldn't have felt different than losing the Super Bowl?
The San Francisco 49ers went into the playoffs as hands down the best team in the NFC and as Super Bowl favorites. The Warriors have entered the postseason as the 10th best team in the Western Conference.
Well, they're not even in the postseason.
Exactly. Yeah. So I guess what I was trying to illustrate is
all right, throw favorite out. You can't. But a loss to Green Bay is a whole hell of a lot different than a loss in the Super Bowl.
I mean, this is one of those where you've taught me a lot. If that's how you feel as a fan, that's how you feel.
I appreciate that.
If you're telling me that
that's a difference.
That a loss to the Kings is a disaster.
Oh, man.
Well, then what's a loss to the Lakers on Friday?
A team that has two
to me,
future
it's
Hall
still
of
kind
Famers.
of a disaster.
Yeah. Who beat you last year? The same team that you're facing in the one-off.
Right.
So we could understand it, but De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis.
I mean, what if I just said, well, you know what? The Warriors upset the Kings last year. There's a 6 seed. Maybe this is their turn to. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and I don't play, so people telling me, "Goo, you got to be careful and take them serious." But I don't play, so the Warriors will be locked in.
Kay in San Francisco, what's up, Kay?
So I have a different take on why this is not a bad season for us. I think there are 4 people who need to reflect on what happened this season and try to make amends next season because, number one, Steph Curry. Steph Curry should think about his fancy passing and bringing up the ball and say, people are going to gang up on him, 2-team, 3-team him, so he needs to not handle the ball as much and keep running around and shooting. 2, Clay needs to think about, how do I succeed in this new role? 3, Dre needs to keep himself in check and not put the team and himself on the line every game. 4, Kerr needs to decide different plays for these older bunch of legs that he has to handle for the next 2 years. That's what this season is about.
Thanks, Kay. Appreciate the call.
Yeah. And if I'm Sacramento, the King fans are going to be booing Draymond every time he has a ball, Stoney. If I'm a King player, let's put another rat on the table. I'm trying to bake Draymond.
Well, so will the Lakers and so will the Thunder. That's just coming with the territory. Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, if you want to go game within a game.
Oh, my goodness.
If the officials are letting them play more, does that mean Draymond,
you're right,
when he gets called for a foul, will be more highly charged?
Monk puts it up.
It's a postseason now. Game
Curry's got the board. Green gets tied up. And a technical has been assessed. Sabonis is down.
Well, we love Dre. I just pictured that in my mind, Donnie.
The stomper.
Yeah, he did.
Stomp the yard.
So there's no world where he didn't stomp Sabonis.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That was the play where his foot hit Sabonis last year.
No, what do you mean? What do you mean there's no world he did? He stomped on his chest and he got suspended.
My son thinks he was getting ready to run. So did his mom. Oh. So he happened. Okay. Took a step.
He was running on his chest. What?
Yeah, no, okay. I didn't even know that was up for debate.
People believe what they want to believe. They think Drake can do no wrong.
Did he hit Nurkic or did I miss that?
No, he hit Nurkic.
And what about Gobert? Did he choke Gobert?
He was just pulling Gobert away.
I mean, this is the kind of thing we laugh about.
No, I'm laughing because some people really ride with him to, the step was a misstep.
They rode with him last year, and he didn't really help.
Yeah, we love
with
you,
the chemistry.
We call those ride or dies.
There you go. Okay. Shout out 50 Cent.
Mike's in Oakland. What's up, Mike? How you doing, man?
Hey, good morning, Steiny. Guru. Good afternoon.
Hey. How you doing, baby?
I got a problem if we lose to Sacramento because I'm hearing everybody say, let's get Sac. Hopefully Sac. I got a problem with people not paying attention. Sacramento give the Warriors hell every time they play them. That is not going to be a walk in the park game like people think. Don't be surprised if the Warriors lose. I'm just throwing that out there.
All right, wow.
I don't want them to lose.
Yeah, either
don't be shocked.
And that's kind of where
the Warriors trouble.
That's kind of where
now you guys getting me a little nervous now.
Like, in a way, like you just played the whole season. You're 46 and 36. You think you could have won 49 or 50 with Draymond, but you didn't. And I mean this seriously, but you didn't. So now you're in the NCAA tournament, and you have to advance to the Sweet 16. You have to. So I do get the other side where it's like you're telling me we're one Steph Curry like bad shooting night at the worst time away from making drastic changes because they got upset by a team that maybe, what if the Kings have the game the Warriors had from 3-point range against the Lakers?
It's possible.
Okay.
All right.
What if the Kings
then they're going home, Steiny.
All right.
You know what? I'm checking myself.
How much good does that undo if there was any good to this season?
Okay. Now, I know the both of us are not doctors, but give me this. I think from a Sacramento Kings standpoint, player-wise, you wanted to play any other team but the Golden State Warriors that not are just your rival here in NorCal, that ended your season in your building. Right. And here we go again with the option of Big Brother to come slap you, pap you.
You keep talking like this. It's still a coin flip game.
That you're right.
So,
but see, I guess I'm talking to you, Stoney. I feel like that matters when they go when Sabonis goes up for that rebound or that shot. Like there is a inferior complex to the Warriors.
Maybe
the
they
Kings
play
have.
harder
You could be right
because they don't think they're as good.
But the
as
Warriors can't allow that.
Well,
but I don't know why I'm acting like Monk is not there, so they have no chance. When you look at every score of the games this year, they've been close.
Yeah, I to me it sounds like, and this again,
Warriors would have to have major turnovers.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Warrior fans just don't want to be eliminated by the Kings because it's the Sacramento Kings. But a week from now, I don't think it matters if they don't make the playoffs. Yeah, okay, it might sting more with the Kings, but I'm just saying it does not, to me, it would not change the big picture of the Warriors if they lose tomorrow as opposed to if they lose Friday.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still a 10, they're still a 9.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you feel now they're better than the Kings? No, shit, I'm not throwing shit. I think they're a better basketball team than Sacramento.
But it's one game. Like, it's the NBA. One game. You left it up to one game. So
wow.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if you're telling me, what are you telling me? The difference between if we lose to Sacramento, big changes. If we beat Sacramento and give the Lakers a good game on Friday but lose, well, then you know what? Maybe we do run it back.
No, I think that
I don't think there's
Joe
any
Lacob
difference.
Already
that's
knows.
What I mean.
All right, okay.
Yeah, that's why I don't think it's a big deal.
But from a basketball standpoint, if you're the better team and you know it's win or go home, you're right, Steiny. Yeah. Anything can happen. It's 48 minutes. But come on,
it doesn't matter.
If you're worth your salt, you got to impose your will.
Doesn't matter.
And get to New Orleans, the Bayou, or LA Friday night.
I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters if you don't get into the playoffs. I don't think it matters if you beat Sacramento tomorrow. In the